Yep.
All right. Party people in the place to be, vandals, and everybody else out there. Hopefully not going to get offended by this episode. This is a brand new episode. How'd we get here? And if you notice, I got my offended kitty avatar back there. So yeah, it's gonna be that kind of episode. We're gonna be talking about some very upstanding, or that's the term, right? Yeah, some really just
some
outspoken pieces of media. Like we have two in particular. Joe, like, what are we talking about tonight, man?
Well, we'll be talking about body bags as well as Repo. So we have body bags and Repo tonight. These are both 90s, like late 90s, I'd say, early 2000s.
Body bags 96, Repos 2008 or 2007.
Oh, 2008. So yeah, mid aughts there. Okay. Yeah. So both of these books are probably problematic. A lot of the language used would probably be problematic today. A little bit of the subject matter as well. So like these are probably books that would have a hard time finding a publisher in today's comic book climate, but it doesn't take away from the quality of these books. And yeah.
To tell you the truth, like I kind of miss this. Like when I was rereading these, man, like I they don't have to be as expensive as these books were, but like so many quote unquote indie books these days are just so edgeless now. You know what I mean? Put a little edge back into it. You don't have to go
take some chances, like everyone plays it so safe with a lot of their books. Like they're so worried about offending like that one person, or like that's life, man. You can't.
They'll probably get offended anyways for you. Like you know what I mean? Like she'll piss off to the other side or something like that.
Or you treat them too much like children, like they can't handle it, or I mean, you just can't win. So you might as well fucking just go for it, right? If you're gonna make a comic, go for it, and leave the chips where they lie. And as far as I'm concerned, if you have a lot of people that love your book and a lot of people that hate it, you're doing something right.
Yeah, straight up. And I'm gonna say that like we might have a bad take or two tonight. And go ahead and call us on that. That'll be fine. We're not willing to die on any hills tonight. You know what I mean? We're just going to try to talk our truth and kind of how we perceive this style of comic book and how we slightly miss it. You know what I mean? That's all we're really trying to say. And like we're going to get into some. The 90s was a crazy time. When we get into body bags, like this book stood above the rest for a reason. Like, but at the same time, like it's infectiously fun. At the same time, I think that's why it had such oomph. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't just doing I want to beat Garth Ennis. I think he was doing it at the same time Garth Ennis was blowing up. So, but like it doesn't have that same feel to it. He was doing his own style of offensive action comic. You know what I mean? Pearson.
Yeah.
And I mean, sadly, he's not here with us anymore. Like I would have loved to have him on the show. That's kind of what precipitated the idea for this, because I was following him on Instagram. I was ready to back his new body bags and stuff like that. And I hadn't heard from him in a while. And we were talking to Patrick Kidlone, and last time we had him on the show, and Patrick was like, dude, I want to work with somebody that just wants to piss people off. And then off air, I told him, like, dude, you should try to hit up Jason Pearson. And he's told me that sadly, Pearson's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
And and that kind of made us just kind of want to talk about this book. And even though we don't have the answers from him that we would like regarding like what the takes that he had and the ideas he had for this book, I still think that I have a certain way to explain a couple of them. The way they make sense to me. It made sense to me at the time when I read them, because and we'll get into it when we really get into talking about the story.
Well, what we could do is we could get Doug Wagner back on, because it was 12 Gauge Comics that released is releasing the artist edition of the body bags, which I did end up backing. I kind of waited till the last minute and I pulled the trigger.
You got the
I was looking. Yeah. I'm going to be getting it. Yeah, it's reproduction size, so it's 1117 hardcover,
Black and white.
scanned to the closest to the originals pages as possible. So yeah, I'm gonna be getting a PDF of that, so I'll shoot that over to you, Johnny, once I get the PDF, and
That's
maybe
awesome.
maybe I'll go to a print shop around here, like a Staples, and I'll have them print out the PDF. I'll put it together by hand, and I'll send you a copy that way.
I mean, yeah,
As a birthday present or something.
we could get a hold of Doug and ask him if he'd feel comfortable about that. Because
because he's friends, like they were friends, right? So he probably has a lot more insights into Jason's work and his ideas and his.
And I wouldn't want to get too deep into like Jason's business. I just have a couple questions about like the takes the things that he did in the book and the reason why he did them, and maybe if Doug had any knowledge on those.
Well, listen, once I get that Kickstarter, I'll reach out to Doug. We've had him on the show before, and he had brought up Jason on the episode we had him on.
Yeah, and, Jason did a couple parts of the ride with him.
Yeah, so once I get that Kickstarter comes in, I'll invite him back on. We could talk about that Kickstarter and then maybe pick his brain a little bit about body bags and see how much insight he could give us on that. So
straight up. Yeah. All right, you want to get into it since we have body bags all lined up? Do you want to take it since you clipped these? You know what I mean? Or you want to roll with the? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can do that. You could. I'll remove the other one so you could add your last page back. There we go. Yeah. So here we go. Body bags will be the first book we talk about, as we had already gotten into. It's Jason Pearson who created it. This was released by Dark Horse and also subsequently was re-released through Image as well. Okay, you have Jason Pearson. You have who is it who did Michael Golden did the covers. So I mean, we'll go back to the cover there. There's some beautiful covers for this that Michael Golden did, and he was a huge help and inspiration for Jason Pearson in the making of this book. So so it was nice. In the back matter, you could read a little blurb he wrote about it. So and here's a shot. Yeah.
This comic was huge when I grew up and where I grew up, because like I told you, I'm kind of from the barrio, and there wasn't very many comics about Latino characters. So when this book hit, and especially with the variant covers that look like lowrider magazines, oh man, like all my Latino friends fucking loved it, man. Like this was a huge hit, even for kids I knew that didn't really read comics.
Yeah, but I mean, just look at this cover though. I love the black and white background, and then with the color in the front, it's just a beautiful touch. It really makes the characters pop and like fly off the page. It's such a great choice. Such a great choice. Just off the bat, just visually. Like the body bags logo is pretty cool too. It's all sliced because Clown Face, his weapon of choice are those big fucking what are they, machete style knives. So that's a great logo as well. The credits page, you get a little bit a shot of Panda and Clown Face himself.
And
Clown Face, right?
Clown Face, right? Yeah. Mac is like his real name. Mac. And like, since you've got this picture up, we'll go ahead and address Panda right now. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of people want to talk about.
She's a very well-developed 14-and-a-half-year-old girl.
Right.
Girl. Yeah.
And she dresses, on the looser side of, but that's the thing. In 1996, that's how girls dressed, man. Yeah. Honestly, when I was in junior high and high school, like when I was reading this book, I did not see anything wrong with it. You know what I mean? That's just how the girls in my school dressed. You know what I mean? Especially the Chicanas, man. Like
the G-strings coming out of the top of the jeans, man. Even me growing up, I didn't have very many Chicanas around where I was, and the girls still, the low-rise jeans with the G-string coming up.
And this is like a really contentious thing with this book with most people because of her age. Like and that's the one thing that I kind of would like to ask him, like, why did you decide to land at 14? But the thing is about Pandas, I didn't think that he was trying to make, I mean, she is cheesecakey, but I don't think he was doing that on purpose. I literally think that she was based on somebody he knew, because she just comes off so familiar, like she was a cousin or a niece or something like that. Because and especially the shit that she goes through in the book, like if you read it, you see that like he saw girls at her age that went through being groped and stuff like that, and like I guess he wanted to give them an icon. That's at least my stance. That's going to be me kind of defending Jason a little bit and like kind of how I see this character, because like there is sexual stuff aimed at her, but she's not really a sexual character in her own right.
Not at all. Like she doesn't like she's not a seductive person. She doesn't give off those vibes. She doesn't
No, she's a mean
talk. She's got a mouth on her. She's a sassy, but not sassy as in sexual, like sassy as in smart, like sarcastic, against authority type sassy. You know, that's the type of sass she has. Anyway, we'll see as we go. So the opening page is Clownface shows up at this house. He's looking for Jonas, right?
Geach. Oh yeah, he's looking for Jonas, but like Geach.
So he's going Geach. Yeah, he goes to see this guy Geach, and right away this girl opens the door, giving him some attitude. So what does he do? Schmuck! Right off the bat, just clocks this chick, breaks her face. Right. This is the first page, so you're getting a taste of what this comic is about right off the bat.
And people are always like, why is Clownface so angry all the time? If you read this book, he's got to have low self-esteem. Everybody, the whole book is just telling him how fucking ugly he is.
And I mean, I think anyway, you'll see him later. I don't think he's a threat at all. Anyway, based on the drawings, anyway. So then he gets into the house and he sees Gooch, and then he's talking to him. And I know you know where Jonas is, and starts threatening him a little bit. Starts asking him how pregnant his girl is, and he's talking to his girl. I'm sick of this. What is it? Family Feud. Turn it to Jeopardy, and that's kind of a verbal signal to his lady to go get the gun to blast this sucker, you know, in their house. So what does he do? Whack! Pulls his blade, sticks it right into her belly with her 8-month-old pregnancy baby. So
what a way to introduce your protagonist to.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah, no. And he's like, consider this abortion a gift as he's leaving, right? So boom, title page. Father's Day.
One thing that Joe kind of forgot is at the beginning there's a little bit of exposition that tells you that this guy Jonas, the Clownface is looking for, blew up their bounty hunter office, and that's what's precipitating this brutal violence. It's a bit of a revenge tale, but like you don't really get the origin of it. You just kind of get the aftermath.
Yeah, it's a quick little blurb, like it's maybe a corner panel.
So if you're wondering why, I mean, like even everybody in the whole book tells Clownface that what he just did was overboard, but like that's one of the things that made me.
This part here, it tells you about them going, like it talks about the explosion, like in newspaper form, like a clipping. And so then it opens with that first page. So then he finds out where Jonas is. So then he's back in the car with his, no, that's not it. Back in the car with his partner. So they're heading out, talking about how they need cash. They're both broke.
He got his head blown off, the top of his head blown off in the explosion. So like that, he's not like wearing like one of those.
That skull cap is bolted in. It's kind of holding his brains in, more or less.
And they need to get money to do a surgery to like
get him to fix him up. Yeah. So they're heading out. They find Jonas and his partner. So all hell breaks loose. Boom! They shoot a cannon. Jonas
Clownface can throw his knife so strong it hits like a mortar shell. So that's his knife, like just causes the explosion.
Yeah, and then Jonas comes out from the smoke from the explosion, worried about his face because he's that conceited and egotistical. So then he and Clownface square off, and he ends up getting the tip of his nose cut off by Clownface, and he freaks out. So he starts shooting back at Clownface, ping, 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 hits the gas tank on the car, and boom. I gotta tell you, he's fucking amazing at drawing explosions. Jason Pearson, man, there's like 4 or 5 different explosions, like shots in this, and they're all beautiful like this. Like fantastic. Like look at the car, how it's just hopping off the ground, like it's coming off the ground, the shattered windshield, just great stuff. I mean, a beautiful comic. This book alone, just for the visuals, I think I could forgive it for all its other maybe criticisms story wise. Yeah. All right, here while this is happening, you see Panda she's on a flight on her way to go find her father, which happens to be Clownface, which they reveal later. And before this is uh, Maggie. Is it Maggie Scorsese or Megan? I can't remember her name, but her her stepson was on the plane and gropes her, and she smashes her. So then she goes back and sees her. She's impressed with her, and she's like, "I gotta take a piss." She was getting up to go to the bathroom, and all that happened. I didn't show it because I want to leave some stuff. If you guys go pick this up to read it and stuff, I want to leave you a little meat on the bone, right? I'm not going to show you every page, so that's the introduction of the Scorseses, which come into play later. This it's a crime family. So this happens on the plane with Panda on her way to go meet up with her father. And then when she gets off the plane, we get these two panels with this guy on the streets. And Johnny, you wanted me to pull this because you were saying there's a nice little one panel with a few Easter eggs in there, right?
Right, yeah. As you can see in the middle panel, you see Dwight Gale and Miho from Sin City. You got Hellboy there, and I think that's Rusty, the boy robot from Frank Miller's stuff. I'm not sure the guy that's back there. Yeah, like there's a lot of cool little Dark Horse Easter eggs back there because this was originally a Dark Horse book, and I always love when dudes draw their friends' books into their book a little bit.
Yeah. So this is definitely kind of really shows the language of this book is this preacher street guy save Jesus saves and all that. Then you get to see the next page where he has an encounter with Panda, calling her a whore and this and that, and she just brushes him off. He approaches her wanting to go to the bathrooms with her, and then blasphemer slaps her, calls her all kinds of names. So this is kind of the language you get through it, and I love that last panel is fantastic because it echoes the shots you get of Clownface when you see his eyes. They both have the same eyes, right?
Yeah,
so that's great.
The serial killer green eyes, straight up.
Yeah, I should have clipped his eyes and put them one side by side. It would have been perfect. I just thought of it now, but it's too late now. But yeah, so you see her eyes, so it's like father like daughter, right? So that definitely echoes that. And then boom, she shows up at his doorstep, but you don't recognize me. And like Johnny was saying, this is where like maybe some people have issues with the Panda character is, you see the G string, the low rise, the halter top with the. And I gotta say, for a 14-and-a-half-year-old girl, she is quite developed, right?
Yeah,
she's not a girl. She's all woman there. All right. So then they come in. They have Cisco is his name, right?
Cisco's the boss.
The big boss. He sends them in because he has a job for them to go assassinate Maureen. Is that her name?
Well, they don't. Oh, they haven't said that quite yet. But yeah, that basically Panda still thinks that they're just doing bounty hunt runs and stuff. And yeah, this guy Black Angus comes in and tells him there's a job.
He's got a job. Yeah,
from the Tarantinos. Yeah, like a lot of the crime families are all named after filmmakers in this, which is pretty cute. I thought pretty funny. Yeah.
See, and right here's another. If you want to, I highlighted some of the language here where she calls him a sperm miscount.
Yeah,
she calls that character. What's his name?
Black Angus, right?
Black Angus. Yeah, she calls him a sperm miscount. I think most of the bad language comes from Panda, actually. Like most of the controversial language and stuff. I mean, I think Clownface has one good line in there that, So she goes into the bathroom, comes back out. She wants to be a body bagger like her dad. So she comes out. She's like, I got an outfit. She comes out with the costume. Poppy's like, oh, like she's definitely your kid, like just he's Clownface, right? So, yeah. Like you're saying, they're saying like Clownface is a chud, but I mean, he looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, yeah, but like, yeah, he's got the worst self-esteem though, still, because like they're all just saying how ugly he is.
All right, so then we go back to the crime family, the Scorseses, and the father's going, giving the wife's a lot of shit for letting Panda beat the crap out of his son. So he calls, what's the language he uses? Spick. What is it?
Yeah, man, don't say it though. You don't got to say the words.
Dirty. Well, I mean, it's just you could read it there. Dirty Spick's uterus, like some garbage. Anyway, this is the type of language that's in it. So, I mean, this is where the book probably gets a little problematic for some readers. But, it's so then she retorts like, yeah, whatever. And like the son after, it just goes to show like father like son, right? You told that
Yeah.
bitch that, and he's like, shut up,
Yeah.
So where the son gets it from. He gets it from his father. So yeah. Then we get a little later on, they're going out for the job, and Panda wants to come, but her father, Clownface, says, you're not coming. You're too young. You're still just a kid. And she has a tantrum, smashes the bat. He tricks her and locks her into the room, and they take off. He and Poppy whoops. These things keep jumping around. They take off, and they're talking about the job, and all of a sudden, what? And then she's like, she snuck into the car and hid in the back seat. And she's like, "Oh, I'm starting to think you guys don't want me around." Yeah, which is great. This is a great splash page as well. Her with the lollipop. Some people may find that problematic as well. All right. So then they're on the rooftop scouting out while Clownface takes care of security. Poppy's on the top, ready to sharpshoot, and this is where it's revealed. Well, this is another one where Poppy starts talking about women and how they're always melodramatic at the wrong time. There's a little panel there on the bottom, right there, and he says that. So that's more like just, people might want to nitpick at the story and like the language that could be a part. And this is where Poppy kind of spills the beans to Panda. These pages coming up where they're going to actually assassinate Maureen instead of just scare them to get to make sure Scorsese stays in the crime syndicate, right? So then she freaks out. She has a little fit, and then Poppy, because of his injury, he misses. And you see the bullet just misses off the side, and
yeah, these cool cyborg.
It's Antonio Scorsese. What's his name?
Yeah, I think it's Antonio.
Antonio, and he has these ex-military hybrid.
The wolf spiders, yeah.
Wolf spiders, yeah, they're like enhanced. There's a lot of there's a lot of enhanced people in this, like either assassins, hitmen, or special agents like that. So, boom, they get off to go fight them. So we're here. Poppy's gonna get it, and all of a sudden, blam! The head gets blasted, and Panda comes in, pops a cap in his ass, right? So then they're fighting on the rooftop. Boom, there's an explosion because, like you said, Johnny, when Clownface throws his knives, it's such a big impact that it does like a small explosion. Yeah. So then he tells Panda to get to the car, and Poppy knows his days are numbered. So he tells Clownface, just get out of here. It's the only chance you got. I'll take care of this. You take off with the kid, with your daughter, and I'll handle this. So it's their goodbye. This is their going away. Where they like, that's like classic. If you had a bigger panel, that would have been that classic Schwarzenegger, like from Predator.
Yeah.
Where they grab each other's hand there. That would have been like, that's the Predator moment on the bottom here. Yeah. So then they're in the car going away, and you see Poppy just boom, takes out all the what were they called? Spider what?
The wolf spiders, yeah.
Wolf spider guys, takes them out on the rooftop, and that's a great shot with Panda out the side there, watching him sacrifice himself. Yeah. All right. So we keep going here. There's some good lines coming up, and then not too long. So they get back. Tensions and emotions are high. He starts arguing with his daughter, kind of badmouths the mother, and Panda goes off. Like, she's just like, you don't talk about my mother that way. And then it goes boom. She pulls her gun, starts shooting at him. He grabs her, throws her around. She's jumping. They like, father and daughter fights are pretty extreme here. I mean, they use bullets and knives. So he slices the gun, grabs her by the head, throws her across the room, starts choking her. He's gonna do it. Like, Clownface is about to kill his daughter, but then he sees the picture of her when she's a little baby and comes to his senses, right? You see his eyes, then they show her eyes with the tears, and they have the same eyes, right? It's like a mirror. He's looking into a mirror almost and sees his daughter, and he can't do it. So he doesn't go through with it. This is probably the most. There's two touching moments like this. There's this one, and there's another one as well. And yeah, these are probably the only. And then Cisco shows up, interrupts this little father-daughter moment. And this is where the language gets problematic.
Yeah, this is where, like, I even as much as I enjoy this book, I face palmed when I read this line when we get to Panda's little big out.
But I got to admit, it's kind of funny though. But it's only funny because of
Jason Pearson's just how talented he is as an artist, right? Like he's here monologuing, and you have Jonas, right? I forgot to say, Jonas in the explosion, they kind of lost touch with him, and he gets picked up later on, and Cisco picks him up and gives him some enhancements, and this is what his face looks like now after facing off with the Clownface. So he's back for his revenge on Clownface after the big face off in the explosion. And Cisco's monologuing here, and Panda's like, "Daddy," and Cisco's monologuing this and that, and then Panda gets "Daddy,"
and then he's like, "What?"
And then she says what that panel says right there.
Yeah, she's like, "I have to talk so much," and then you get, what's his name? Cisco's eyes just boom, just light up on fire, right? And he's ready to kill now after she says that. And then his henchman's like, "The boss is a fag," and then it's like, "What? He isn't a fag?" And then this is my favorite part. This is the rest of that's kind of like whatever I can, but this Clownface's reply is, "Nah, kid. Cisco's just a fat, ugly chick." that made me laugh. The other stuff was like, whatever, it's kind of, but that his response, like they could have used other language for those other parts that could have been a little less offensive. But then I think you kind of lose a little bit of you're not true to the characters you're putting down, right? Because they don't. These are hitmen. They're not worried about their language. They kill people for a living. They don't give a shit about hurting your feelings or being politically correct. They fucking murder people for money. So that moral line doesn't exist there for them. So I think people have to take that into context as well.
Also, like the characters, like the mobsters in it, are named the Scorseses and the Tarantinos. Watch those movies and see the way that people talk in those. Like that is what a Grindhouse and like old gang films is like. What pretty much inspired this from Pearson, I believe, and it's pretty obvious, you know what I mean? And sure, it's not the nicest language, but in '96, I hate to say it, it was still pretty commonly said, man. People that didn't even mean it.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't hold the same weight as it does today. Let's just put it that way. But that reply, that's Clownface's reply to his daughter on that, to Panda, just that I was laughing. I was actually got like a real laugh, and then we get to some great pages here where they're, oh wait, I missed one here. This great splash page. Yeah, kill them. And then you see Jonas and that other henchman, Black Angus. Yeah, even that, his name, Black Angus, is kind of, that's problematic as well, right? If you want to really dig into every little, if you want to criticize every little bit of this book, you could criticize maybe the name of that henchman as well. But look at these splash pages. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. Look at the work, the bricks in the background, just the posture, the pose, it's great. And look, you get the movement of the light on the ceiling, the angle, it's on an angled shot too. It's not just, this is textbook, a perfect splash page for action. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this page right here. Whoops. Okay, it keeps jumping around here. Yeah, so then they're facing off. Right, Cisco's going, Jonas and him, and then Panda's kind of
fighting Black Angus because he wants to keep her after they kill.
And that's another part that's a little problematic too. After, I think it's the next page, but
she's giving Clownface shit like, Daddy, you gonna let that $6 million jizz leech kick your ass? Jizz leech. I mean, I don't even know if that's even a real thing or if Jason just invented that one. I don't know. I never heard that one before, but yeah, that's good. It's just, that's Panda, right? She has a mouth on her, right? That's her character. She's sassy. And this is the part that's like Black Angus wants to keep her, right? He's like, oh, Cisco asked me if I wanted ice cream, but I said no, I wanted my pie. Meaning he wants a piece of Panda. Does that mean he wants her for sexual devious reasons? It's not clear, but it kind of lends itself to kind of, because
He's calling her
that,
pie.
He's calling her pie, jelly pie, his jelly pie after. Like, I mean, it leads you to think he might have sexual deviations, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, he's EDP pretty much, man.
Yeah. So so that's another little aspect that people might cringe at a little bit, but that's the only place where you get any sexualization. No, on the plane in the beginning,
and with the bum, like Panda.
Oh yes, that's true. The bum asked her to go back to the washroom with her. That's true. Yeah.
But the cool thing is she turns it around and victimizes the people that try to make her a victim. So I think that it's a strong role model that way. But yeah, but she definitely needs to take a sensitivity class, man. Like,
for her language, which she did go into, because throughout the book you get these little profile like case file things, and they say she was in therapy and stuff like that, and how she wants to emulate her father, which is problematic because he's a body bagger. Anyway, so it goes into that. And through the scuffle, she blasts Cisco, and at the same time, Cisco gets shot off. So they shoot each other, and she's like, that's it? Man, getting shot ain't nut. And she passes out. Even when she's like, she acts all tough, even when, so. And there's some cool shots of Cisco, like the damage, but I didn't want to show that because if you guys go pick up the book, I want that to be something you can experience for the first time if ever you go pick this up. So then there's a big explosion. I'll hide this for now. There's a big explosion. Clownface grabs her. They fall outside, and the cops are there waiting for him. They bring him in. He finesses it himself out of trouble, he and her. They make a deal with the cops, and then the final few pages end up in the hospital, and we have him talking to her, and she finally spills the beans that the mother's dead.
Yeah.
Because he's planning on sending her back to the mother, right? That's his plan. And then she spills the beans that she's there not just to visit, but because the mother's dead, she doesn't have anywhere else to go. And he's like, I can't raise a kid. I can't do it. Like, she'll slow me down, and more likely than not, she'll end up dead eventually anyway. So he's like, probably the best thing for her is if I do it peacefully, so she doesn't have to suffer. And he's, in his mind, he's probably doing her a favor if he kills her. And one of the before last page is he's leaving the room as the nurse comes in. She's like, oh my god, and he's like, she'll sleep much better now, or she'll rest much better now. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Nice cliffhanger. But there was sadly not too much body bags after this. It was such a big series, and as far as I remember, like, it was very well received, you know what I mean? So it's kind of weird that all he got was like a one shot and two like short stories after it. But the series that he was going to make looked so interesting because it was Panda grown up, and she had a younger girl, like, I think that she was training, at least from the art that I've seen, because I've only seen a couple pieces. One was like a younger girl braiding Panda's hair into cornrows. I would have loved to seen where he would have taken this, because like when they botched the assassination on
Maureen
Scorsese, they kind of alluded to, like, there's going to be a lot more of that coming up, and sadly, like, none of these points ever got drawn together. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what went wrong. You know what I mean?
I think the Kickstarter's going to have some unreleased stuff that unpublished, some stuff that was unpublished beforehand. So you'll get some new stuff from the Kickstarter, I think.
Okay, cool. But yeah, like there's a lot of neat stuff that's kind of, but I mean, like honestly, I think that a lot of people that and I'm not trying to make super excuses for it. Like there are some things that are said in this book that are just wrong. We have you get introduced to the protagonist by him forcing an abortion. Like it is grotesque in parts, but at the same time, like it's mirroring old grindhouse films. You know what I mean? A little bit of the horror and definitely the gang stuff. And I, I, and I hate to say it, man, but I find it a very fun book. You know what I mean? Like
It is. I mean,
going through it every couple of years. You know what I mean? It's always been a reread of mine whenever I kind of get the chance to get back to it.
It's a if you love action in your comics, this has some great panels. I didn't show you half of the action in it. I only showed you a few because we want to talk about maybe why this is problematic for some people. But if you can get past that, and I think you have to put it in context, like Johnny said, this book came out in 95, 96. I mean, it's not politically, socially, we're not in the same climate anymore. So you got to take that with a grain of salt and understand history, like kind of understand the way people talk back then. And I mean, some of the language used in here was pretty commonly used in, I wouldn't say every day, but I mean, yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. So I'm not going to comment on what Jason Pearson died of, but I've heard bad things. That's sad things. That's all I'm going to say about it. I don't think it's my place to really talk about it, to tell you the truth. Like, and from what I understand, his family and his friends have kept it really close to the chest, probably for a good reason. And I'm not going to speculate. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure.
Well, this comment here, who cares if it isn't PC? I mean, we don't care to a certain degree. And I think but a lot of people will. And they won't look at this within context of when it was created, right? I mean, I think that's important. You gotta understand when this came out in history, like in the history of comics. Because I mean, things that were released, like look at Disney censoring all the older cartoons they used to make, like some stuff in Dumbo, and there's a series of old Disney animations that they just censored the shit out of it because today it's not considered, but back then no one even batted an eye at it. And you got to understand that when these came out, right? And
right, and also because this is like, if people ever ask me about like 90s comics, were there any that are good? Because there's that whole debate that 90s comics are just garbage. And like, if you literally ask me like, what are some good 90s comics to check out, I will tell you Body Bags. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, Sin City and the first Hellboys and stuff like that. Like that was the good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The stuff to really look out for. I mean, there was some fun stuff from Image too, but in my opinion, like it was all that really early Dark Horse stuff, or like mid-level mid-age Dark Horse stuff, but still, man. And I want to like have a bit of a disclaimer out there that like, if I recommend you to read Body Bags, it might not sit well with you, or certain parts of it. And as a evolved person as I am these days, some of it doesn't sit well with me either. But I remember being that, you know, goofy stoner in high school in junior high in 1996, and you know, getting these books and hanging out with my friends and reading it and just being like, oh my god, I can't believe he stabbed the pregnant lady in the first issue, you know, like
in the first page, second or third page, 3 pages in, he stabs a pregnant woman, which some people might find extremely off-putting, but you know, it is.
It sits with me like the scene in The Watchmen where, you know, the comedian shoots the pregnant lady. You know what I mean? This one was done for way different type of shock value. Like, this one was done just to make you be like, "Oh fuck!" It wasn't trying to actually be.
No, yeah, he's just
artistic with it. You know what I mean? Unlike Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, he was literally trying to gross you out.
But I mean, you got to realize the characters. These aren't, like I said, these are hitmen. These aren't like politicians that are being careful. Like I said, they kill people for a goddamn living. They're not going to sit there and worry about your feelings, because you know what? You're not going to have any feelings if you meet these people, because they're going to fucking kill you. So they don't give a shit about how they talk to you, right? And if you're not going to go all the way with these characters, don't ever put these characters in your book if you're not willing to
be true to that character, right? Because it's not going to feel authentic. It's not going to feel real. It's going to feel fake, soft. It just won't work. So, I mean, sometimes you've got to, even though you don't like it, sometimes you've got to push it. You know, you got to be a little edgy if the character calls for it. Otherwise, the story, it just won't hold up in the story. Just write something else if you're not willing to do that. That's all I have to say about that.
And that's the other reason why we're kind of talking about it, because Body Bags is having a bit of a moment right now. You know what I mean? You got Tim Silly doing the Body Bags versus Hack Slash, which has been, I haven't read it yet, but it looks really fun. And people have told me that it's pretty brutal. So, and then you also had the Kickstarter that just ran. So, I'm not sure like exactly how much they're going to continue with it, but it looks like they're testing the waters to try to maybe do more Body Bags with different creators. I'm not sure what Doug's plan is, or like what the Pearson estate has okayed, but like I'm just interested in seeing like what they can get away with these characters nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be interesting to see how if they have to tiptoe through the tulips or if they just go for it. Because like I was saying, like indie comics at this moment, especially the stuff from Image, is so edgeless at the moment that I'm kind of wondering. It's going to be interesting to see going forward.
Yeah, we you probably got here later, Travis. We were saying, I think a good book, you'll have a lot of people that love it, and a lot of people you'll probably hate your book. And like Johnny and I were saying, I think if that's the case, then you're probably doing something right with your book. If you get that much division, if it's a popular book and just as many people love it as hate it, then you're probably doing something interesting, different with your book. If it's creating that much buzz around it for good and negative reasons. I mean, that means you're not playing it safe. You're really pushing it. You're going for it. And you kind of have to respect that, even though you may not respect the language but you have to respect someone that goes for it, and not just going for it just to be an asshole or this or that, but not holding back. Like if the story calls for it, they're going to do it, and they're going to be unapologetic about it. And I think that may be lacking a little bit in comics today, where people are too worried,
Well, I mean, like this book is written and it's meant to be just so mean spirited, and like nobody really has that mean spirit anymore. Like even the last 5 to 10 Garth Ennis books I've read have been like really watered down and like not mean spirited anymore. It's just kind of like I get it, you know what I mean? He wants to get published, but like at the same time, I kind of miss just nihilistic, mean comics. You know what I mean? They used to be around a bit more. You know what I mean? And
I mean.
It is what it is, and but like there are so many labels that run around talking about, oh, we're the punk rock label. It's like, well, prove it, man. Put out something that's you got some edge to it. You know what I mean?
Don't try to, if you're trying to please everyone, that's not fucking punk rock at all. If you're trying to make everybody happy, I mean, come on.
We have enough neon tinged comics about vampires. You know what I mean? Like, goddamn.
I just want to shout out to Chase is in the chats, and Zod. Happy New Year, Zod. I haven't seen Zod in a while. So
he'll probably show up when we do our Creature Commandos episode. He'll probably bring us all chat to shit on us for that.
Yeah,
that'll be a fun one.
He's gonna come and take a big old steamy shit on James Gunn. I'm here for it, man. Zod, if you want to come on and shit on James Gunn, man. Not that I'll agree with you, but I welcome the what do you call it? The
challenge,
the conflict, the challenge, the discussion, the debate.
Man. Body Bags, like it's still a cult hit. You know what I mean? There's still people that really love it, and it's for good reason. Like despite perceived flaws in it, it's still one hell of a fun book, man. It's like Reservoir Dogs, but even meaner. You know what I mean? And like I don't know, I have fun with nihilism. You know what I mean? I have fun with mean-spirited things. I mean, I don't want everything to be that way because not a lot of people can write it fun like Pearson could. But if you can actually do it really fun, like fucking please, man, put out. And I think that there probably might be some more like this somewhere in the underground, but like most of the studios, even the ones I really like right now, they are lacking edge in their books. And and like I said before, I'm not asking for them to be as edgy as Body Bags. You know what I mean? That's pretty extreme. But like, at least go for Garth Ennis's Hitman edge. You know what I mean? Like nobody even goes that far anymore.
Yeah, and it's not even that. That's pretty tame.
Yeah. All right. You ready to get into the next one?
Yeah, man. Round 2.
Round 2. Okay. This one doesn't get as brutal, but like it's probably even more mean-spirited than body bags. As far as I know, that I think 12 gauge has it available on their website, man. You can get both
I don't know if it's sold out though. It might be sold out, but I wouldn't be surprised because of the Kickstarter. They're reprinting everything for the artist edition, and I'm pretty sure I think there's a soft cover edition. So I think the soft cover edition might be the edition that they put out to the public once all the printing's done. And I would have to get in touch with Doug and see what the plans are, but I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be they're printing extra copies to have all this stuff available again, available to fans later on once the Kickstarter's done. I wouldn't be surprised if you see all this stuff come back into print through 12 gauge.
I wouldn't be surprised because I mean, like you saw how big the fan response was when Faust made all that money on Kickstarter. You know what I mean? And with its hardcover, so. But then they didn't reprint anything besides the hardcover, so I'm not sure. Doug likes to have things out there for people, so I'm pretty sure even if Image doesn't help them put it out this time, I'm pretty sure 12 gauge will.
12 gauge, yeah, because he does release stuff without Image through 12 gauge, and this is something that's close to his heart because he was personal friends with Jason Pearson. So, I mean, the Kickstarter did really well. I could go take a quick look. Just to give you, I think it made like
700 times what I was looking for, something like that. Like
I'll go take a quick look here and give you like a quick number. But yeah, so yeah.
But I mean, since Image is doing the hack slash thing, I think they're testing the waters. I think they might reprint it over there. You know what I mean? And that way it'll be like easier to get and cheaper. But 12 gauge isn't that bad with their prices either.
Okay, the 12
from them.
The artist edition did almost 200,000 Canadian, so that's about that's over 100 grand US, probably 130 US the Kickstarter. So that's it had 828 backers, so almost 900 backers. So I mean, there's a demand there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he put some prints out there. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And yeah, especially if you like fun, goofy, brutal stuff, like it's one that you're gonna want to have in your collection, and you'll probably go back to it like I often do,
Yeah, just for the art. The art is fantastic, like beautiful. Jason Pearson, I mean, come on. You saw those pages. If you're watching before, you saw those pages. I mean, and you got Michael Golden, and I think they're gonna be releasing some Michael Golden stuff in that some of his original drawings maybe that never got printed in the issues. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff coming out through that Kickstarter that I think will surface probably in the direct market as well. Yeah.
Right. Next up, we have Repo. Like I was saying, like this one, it might not have quite the language or the
it has some language.
The distinct brutality that Body Bags has, but like it makes up for it in just its mean spirit and its nihilism and like its regard for life in general. Like like this book does not sugarcoat things in the way people think and feel. You know what I mean? And it's hyper exaggerated. It's a futuristic, cyberpunk, dystopian Repo Man story, and it kind of mirrors the movie Repo Man a bit because you got the the young kid, Emil Guilo is what they call him because he's the white boy. And you got Katie, the old timer, who's kind of showing him the ropes, and he's smooth, he knows all the shit. And like, you don't fuck with Katie, even though Guilo says its name like it's Katie, but it's like the letter K and D. Like, I thought that was hella fun. You always make it sound like a girl's name.
It's Katie,
motherfucker.
Yeah.
So they're on this job.
It's a hard K and it's a hard D.
They're on this job. They're supposed to snag this car, but Emil wants to show how tough he is, so he runs out and tries to get it. Meanwhile, like he finds out that it's actually a car bomb, and it's a setup for basically this doctor to escape with this clone. It's basically like a Oregon factory for this rich guy, Radcliffe. And this is basically the crux of the whole book. This guy here is like the golden suitcase from Pulp Fiction. You know, everybody's going to want this guy.
Yeah.
So Guilo and KD, oh yeah, and this is what I'm talking about, like where they show just like the mercilessness of like the police and stuff. It's like I gotta talk to you about Rob G and Rick Spears, because they were very punk rock comic book creators. They did stuff for AIT, Planet Lar, and indie stuff before Image kind of picked them up and ran with them. And you can kind of tell by their artwork, but they don't really care for law enforcement or government authorities too much. So, and it's very reflective in their work. If you ever read like Teenagers from Mars or any of their other stuff, like but here they show the SWAT team just roll in and just start mowing these people down because there might be a clone in the audience. And yeah, it's kind of ACAB before there was ACAB, which is pretty funny. And this is where we meet Radcliffe, the rich guy who he's going to screw everybody over. He just wants his heart pretty much. And like, he's afraid that they're going to put a baboon heart in him and he's going to throw his poop at people, which is it's a true fear to have. Like, when you're rich and famous and you're a moon Nazi, yeah, that's one thing you got going for it.
It wouldn't be the thing that crosses my mind, but you know.
And this is them kind of tying it into the movie Repo Man a little bit more. They got the really hot lady that works in the office that everybody macks on, you know what I mean? And then you got the Lim and Lee, the brothers, they close every deal, man. Like, they are the most reliable repo people in the city, but like, they're terrifying. They'll just fucking decimate. So that's like the one thing that Guilo and Katie are afraid of. So so basically they get the patch through about the clone and the repo for the clone, and these guys want to take it because they got screwed out of their last one. So they're like, oh hell yeah. But meanwhile, Emil, he's like asking if are the true hero of the book's going to be on it. That's this really crazy, really awesome. Oh, I forgot the Geico caveman. Basically, these guys are these guys that had one too many beauty surgeries, and then they just got they de-evolved into these cavemen, which is hella funny. And like, they just hang out and try to jack people's cars. And yeah, they're kind of a reoccurring character, but I just thought the whole setup that they had one too many shots of Botox or whatever and became cavemen.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically Guilo is in love with Lula Bell here, who she's like really into dying and stuff. She's an odd character, but yeah, she meditates with the bag over
her head. Yeah, taped on top of that.
Yeah, this is the problematic stuff right here. And like, she gets the call from her boss, and like, she's like, "What shit bag?" She kind of talks like Panda, you know what I mean? Her and Panda would roll together pretty much.
Yeah, they'd fit well together.
And that's Keith, that's her partner. He's this big, lovable gay guy. And then she's got the "fuck you" tattoo on her belly with her bush hanging out. That's probably pretty problematic because she does get objectified quite a bit in this book. That's another one of the things later on going to probably catch a lot of people wrong. But like, this is where you get the clone army, and this kind of comes with some ableist type stuff that I think some people would have, because they kind of hint at them all being handicapped, you know what I mean? And you get this really funny scene with Killian shitting his pants, when they're trying to ask him to give him a speech.
He makes me think of Humperdinck.
Humperdee-doo, yeah.
Humperdee, whatever his name is from Preacher.
Yeah.
Same character, kind of, right?
Yeah, but he's way more likable. I actually really feel bad for what happens to Killian. It's not nice to that poor little pants shitter, man.
No.
Basically, Lula Bell and Katie and Emil, they're going to their different sources trying to find out where they got the bomb from to bomb the car earlier, and basically they catch up with her, and like, this is Emil Guilo. He's got mad crush on Katie, and like, he thinks that all he's got to do is like bust a Mac on her and she'll fall for him type thing. But like, the whole book, he's kind of objectifying her. So
yeah.
The romance in this book is probably the problematic part of it.
Yeah,
hilarious to say.
But I mean, not unlike Panda, she fucking
Lula Bell's the hero of the book.
Oh yeah, she doesn't take shit. Like, if you say one thing, like even remotely, like, you can even be genuinely kind to her, and she'll just fucking punch you in the face just for looking at her, right? So yeah.
and here's the Pink Panthers. Or that's not what their gang's really called, but that's what the media calls them, and they're a liberation force. Yeah, you understand the joke. I'm not going to explain that one to you. And yeah, this is basically Guaylo still's got to smoke outside of the car. He's like, it's fucked up. You make me smoke outside the car. And he's like, well, man, they cured cancer, but they can't cure getting that stink out of my seats. So your ass has got to smoke outside.
Yeah.
Like really good back and forth between the characters, man.
Yeah.
Like Rick Spears really showed up. I have fun with a lot of his writing, but this is probably my favorite book of his, and definitely my favorite of his and Rob G's. Like just the characters, the way they interact is just so good. And like they're chasing down they're basically following Lula, and she spots them, and they have this big freeway fight, and like they go full Blues Brothers with it, man. They smash the whole road up. And Guaylo basically steals this hover bike to chase him down. They end up in the Undercity where the clones and the mutants live and shit. Like, and you have this mad fight between Keith, Lola, and the Lula and the clones. They're just blasting the hell out of them. Like I said, like, and that's the sad thing is like the clones are kind of the foil for marginalized society, and the way they're kind of just regarded and treated in this book, it's kind of just fucked up. But it is sadly the way a lot of people view marginalized societies. So I get what they're saying here, but I think that like a lot of people that don't understand context could read it the wrong way and not get that they're being hyperbolic. You know what I mean? That is the joke here. But yeah. And then Guaylo shows up. He's got his trank gun pretty much, and he shoots Keith, and then he shoots he throws the foam grenade, then he shoots Lola, and then you got this really creepy scene where he's basically macking on her while she's immobilized.
Yeah, where she's paralyzed. Yeah, exactly.
And even Katie's just like, "Come on, fuck, let's get out of here." And then we get this really cool scene where like she's imagining these pink elephants that like help her stand up. Like there's some pretty cool fourth wall breaks in this too, like the crazy Dumbo scene with the elephants. And there's one later on with the magician that really cracks me up. But yeah, and we get another really cool freeway scene. This was when I really started feeling bad for Killian, because they're basically both like playing tug of war with him on the freeway, and like he just gets his arm ripped off.
Yeah, he goes through the ringer, this guy.
Yeah, and basically Lula gets him, and they get the arm, and their boss calls and tells them that they better not have lost the body, and he's like, well, we still got the arm, so we might get a partial, part of the profit.
Yeah.
And then the clone army rolls up on them with an old school Bradley, and like because all the cars hover and shit, Emil and them don't know how to shoot out the tires. It's a foreign concept to them. It's like, whoever heard of a car that rolls? Hey, K-pop, what's up? How's it going? It was cool seeing you talk to Jeff the other night. K-pop's awesome. Yeah, we got this another kind of really fun freeway fight scene. And this one, like, they want to pretend like they still got Killian's body. So, like, Katie cuts the fingers off, and he's throwing them out the window. And one of them gets caught in this clone's mouth. She's just like, "Okay, let's back up. They're doing our boy wrong."
Yeah, they're throwing pieces. They won't stop throwing pieces at us. So we better give them some room. It's for that. Yeah. I don't know if we'll ever get there. Hopefully I'll be dead before society turns this bad, but we'll see. We're well on our way anyway.
And like basically they all get caught up with each other at the spaceport launch pad, because like they got to go to the moon to meet with Radcliffe, the moon Nazi, to give him the clone. So there's this crazy like Mexican standoff. There's like these SWAT guys that the corporation's hired. There's Katie and Emil. There's Keith and Lola, and then the twins roll up, man, in their rickshaw. So like it just goes down, man. And we get like just all these pages of carnage, and it's really fun, man. You could tell that Rob G had a lot of fun doing this, man, and like he really went super detailed. Like usually, I mean, like you can tell by his art, like he's not well into noodling, but like he really went off on this book. I think he wanted to show, because this is probably the biggest platform he had too. He really wanted to show that like he did have some gas in the tank, man. And
he has there's some beautiful panels that he put some
some really top-notch work into. There's a few really nice panels in here that are just fantastic. Like all the mowing down of civilians by the by gun. All those panels are fantastic. I think he really just look at that. It just with the oh shit. I always have a hard time with that, Johnny. Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia. Like just go back to that one and look at the onomatopoeia. It's like everywhere, right? Like almost like the bullets everywhere, like ta 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 all over the page everywhere, and it just like you said, it just accentuates. It just brings home the chaoticness of like the chaos that's within there. Yeah, it's great. It's really good stuff.
And then in the middle of all this carnage, we get like this really funny scene between Lula and Guilo. Like they're both out of bullets, so he thinks that this is a moment to make his move. He goes, just like you
with the tongue out. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, it's if you're offended by this, I mean, you don't have a sense of it. It's so over the top. It's funny. I mean, come on.
But he is a creeper, man. So like,
yeah, he's a little douchey for sure. Yeah.
Oh man,
Fortnite. I don't know. I don't play Fortnite, so I couldn't. I didn't even know Eminem was in the Fortnite game.
He's got little pink guns. But yeah, like basically the twins, they shoot a rocket. They're like they blew up to the parking lot, but Lola's able to get into the spaceport with the clone, and like they take off, and she's like, "Fuck you, cunt nuggets," and basically they end up having to fly to the moon in a.
Is that what she says?
Something like that, doesn't she call them?
Cunt nuggets? I don't know. Let's go back and see.
Dude, like it's.
It wouldn't surprise me because she's got a mouth on her. So
yeah, she's almost as bad.
Oh, wait a minute. Is it this or am I too far? That's where the rocket goes up.
Oh, you're probably looking at when they're in their rocket.
Yeah, just right here. That bitch twists my nuts. Okay, she didn't say anyway.
Oh, later piss stains.
Piss stains. Okay, yeah, she's got a mouth on her too, not unlike Panda, right? So, yeah.
And then we get the flash, like I said, like here's the billionaire having
his nightmares of throwing shit. Yeah,
he's got a baboon heart.
He's up in the tree with the baboons throwing his shit around. Oh fuck!
Because Guilo and fucking Katie don't got any money, they have to ride an ICBM up to the moon. So they don't even get like a cush ride. They got to go on an old rocket. Shit's hilarious. Man.
They might not even make it. Last season, he had a gun that would pop up the words of his songs. Okay. And it looked like that when you're shooting. Okay. Because the words are just coming out. Got you.
Well, that's a clever gimmick.
Yeah. It must have been funny. People must have gotten a good laugh out of that when they were playing.
Yeah, like they just crash on the moon, and then like they stroll into New Vegas, and it's hella funny. The intercom talks like a Nazi the whole time. So it's like Achtung! So like you know what they're saying about the rich people that live on the moon, and basically they run into Lula on the strip up there, and like they have this classic battle, man, and like her fight between her and
this is one of the panels. Look at that. Look at that. Just the movement, the lines.
Yeah.
Her hair, the movement of her hair.
This is like basic art right here. Like just small little details that just sell the panel. Her throwing that fist. You get the speed lines. You get the motion of her hair. It's creating that movement. And he does such a fantastic job. And look at that fist. Beautifully. The foreshortening of the perspective, the folds in the clothes. That is top-notch panel right there, that middle panel of her throwing that fist. I mean, it's beautiful. Great work by Rob G there.
Yeah. And then it's hella funny because like he's afraid to like really punch her and stuff because he's still trying to mac on her. So she like kind of beats his ass and like she kind of humiliates him. So like she's kind of babying him. And he bites her hand and then like he punches her in the boob and she's like, "Why are you fighting like a girl?" she's like, fight me like a man, and she's like, you fight me like a girl. And like he's poking her eyes. It gets really silly.
It's I laugh.
Yeah,
Every scene with those two fighting is just funny. And he kicks her in the you little pussy, and then he kicks her in the gooch at the same time as she says pussy. I mean, that's just comedic timing. No? I mean, that's just funny shit. That's fucking raw. Yeah. Yeah, after he gets her in the privates.
And she's able to get away though because the fake gravity got turned off for a second. She had anti-grav training, so she's able to get away. She gets these new guns from the gun shop, and this is another really funny scene I like where they break the fourth wall where she's like, do a magic trick, disappear, and like the magician actually does it. I'm like, goofy shit, but like it keeps it entertaining, man. It's what makes this such a fun book, you know, such a high recommendation. And Wilo and Katie, they're getting up to the top floor with Killian and stuff, and Lola's not letting that happen. She straight shoots a grappling gun hook right into his chest and rips the poor fucker's heart out. And that
this is where I'm like, I don't think any of these hitmen are trained in any sort of form of medicine or any kind of training whatsoever, because I'm not too sure that heart will be very good after ripping it out of a person's chest with a grappling hook.
And she just throws it in an ice bucket too right afterwards. She doesn't like try to seal it up or anything. She just takes it, chucks it in a bucket.
Mm-hmm. Poor guy, like you said.
Yeah. But I mean, they're not hitmen. They're bounty hunters or repo men.
Repo men. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So.
But yeah, this is here's her throwing the heart in the bucket, and she's drinking the champagne. Well, like basically they find out that like they were never going to get paid anyways, and they got to just fight everybody in the hotel in the casino pretty much. And here we get another really at this time, this is right after it was Siegfried or Roy got almost
bit by their tiger.
Yeah. So they throw in like a spoof of that, and then the tiger ends up becoming friends with Lula. They're like running around just like eating people. Meanwhile, the clone,
wild.
She's running by the chorus line, and she's like, "Stop him for me! He's a rapist." They're just like kicking him in the balls and nuts while he's moving by. And he's like, "If this didn't hurt so much, I think this would be really fun." It's dumb shit, but like
it's highly entertaining. Highly entertaining.
And then like they're watching the struggle. The heart goes flying by. She kicks it, and you got the twins running by with the chainsaw, like all this stuff. And then basically like Katie and Guilo get it, and they do this kind of football juke maneuver, and they're able to get it to the old man. And basically he kind of goes off like what's her name did in the last book and insults everybody to their face. And Katie ain't trucking with that. He's just like gets up in the old man's face, talks his shit, and then feeds the heart to the tiger, man. And then we get this really, really funny ending with these two where he's like, I'm not leaving empty-handed. So Guilo pulls Lula up and then gives her a smooch, you know, which does not go. Like, that's how Brian Wood got fucking canceled, my man. So like,
yeah.
But Keith's been like kind of rooting for Guilo the whole time, and him and Katie are over there just like kind of spoofing them. And like her reaction to it's kind of funny, you know, like, I feel this tingling in my chest. I think I'm poisoned. Get a Max Tech out here, you stat.
Yeah, yeah. I like that relationship between her and her partner too.
Yeah, her and Keith are hilarious.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And they kind of sequel bait that like a sequel that will never come, because I talked to Rick Spears 4 or 5 years ago when we were first starting this show about Teenagers from Mars, and he was really short with me. He doesn't do comic books anymore. He's a screenwriter now. So yeah, I don't think we're getting that sequel to Repo ever, but I still like him and his work. I actually just got a new book, or not a new book, but a book I've never had from this team before. It's called Filler. And from what I understand, it's supposed to be kind of a Sin City type thing, a noir, but it's all black and white with Rob G doing his Frank Miller impersonation. Sounds interesting. I'll let you know when I get it, Joe. But I hope it's a fraction as fun as this. And
it was a really fun read. Like both these books, it was my first time reading it, and I got to say, I probably read this almost in one night, just one sitting, which means the book was good. That I'd actually read through the whole thing in one shot. It's fun. Like, I mean, how do like you said, there might be little things that would be off-putting to some people, but I mean, you got to take it in the spirit that it was created, right? And it's over the top. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's meant to be ridiculous, so don't take it seriously because it's silly.
Well, another reason why you probably were able to read it so fast is because like every turn page, something's happening, man. Like this book is literally just packed.
Yeah, it's a
It doesn't
fast-paced
stop.
book. No, and it's really fun. Like, I mean, it's over the top in every sense of the word. Like, it's over the top with the action. It's over the top with the dialogue. It's just fun. It's really fun comic books. If you like an action-packed, fast-paced, funny, like just that. Put up that one where she's running by them. Do you still have that?
Just stick in the heart.
Yeah, where she's running in the casino and they're standing there and she runs past them. Like, this is classic comedy, right? Two people talking. She runs by. Then this guy runs by with a chainsaw. And then they're like, oh, I guess they're going that. Like, that's just classic comedy. That's just, I mean, come on. That's classic comedy right there. I mean, this book is like their fight scene where he kicks her in, like, the role reversals, you know? I mean, it's great. It's fun. It's good stuff. And this one, Body Bags. Oh, that was just, it's worth picking up just for Jason Pearson's art alone. I mean, it's fun. I mean, Clown Face is a great design. That mask, I mean, come on.
Oh, it makes him look a lot nicer than he is, though. Like
Well, it's pretty evil. I mean, look, come on. Look at that. Looks pretty evil, you know? Yeah. Anyway, it's good stuff. Great stuff.
Cool designs all the way around.
Yeah.
And
oh, that cover, like, well, both covers, like this one, I love it. Look at that. Beautiful cover. And this one, ooh.
Yeah.
If the book were colored in this style, I mean, it'd be a 10 on 10 for me.
Yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, the because like in the actual issues, like those are like preview for the covers, and like they're all colored like that, and they all look better than the actual covers for the.
This is what the original. Wait, my mic. This is what the original cover coloring looked like, which is fine.
Dynamic.
It's fine. It's good. Okay, and you know, that's what you get. I love that. That's simple, but it's dynamic in its choice of colors. Right? It's palette.
It pops a lot more.
Yeah, it pops. It definitely has more of a graphic impact. And man, if they would have colored the whole thing in this style, ooh, it's good. It's good. The coloring's fine. I have no problems with the coloring in it, as is. But man, if he would have stuck with that kind of coloring style, goddamn, would have been amazing.
I think that Rob actually colored those himself. I'm not sure though. I don't know.
I'll
the
check.
covers, I don't think,
because I didn't see any other credits. So yeah, there's no other credits. It just says him on art. So yeah,
wow, okay.
He does the coloring. Yeah.
Which I mean, like
Jason Pearson has a colorist on his, but I mean, it's the Body Bags coloring is pretty typical of the books back then.
Yeah.
You know, let's see whose colors.
Actually,
Jason Pearson, Laverne Kinzerski, and Dan Brown. So Jason Pearson did do some coloring on his own work, but he had some help.
But like, actually, like his coloring is quite a bit muted compared to a lot of '90s coloring. Actually, like he doesn't have so much such bright purples and oranges like everybody had then. You know what I mean? Like, they are there, but like they're not loud. They're not blinding you. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people did in the '90s. Plus, I mean, like I would have liked. I would have loved Body Bags in black and white. To tell you the truth, I loved Pearson's art that I saw in the ride that he did in black and white. It's gorgeous. Yeah. So,
well, that's it. I pulled the trigger on that artist edition of Body Bags. I saw the original pages, just black and white, and I was like, holy fuck. They were just amazing. Really, really nice. So yeah. Oh, I wasn't going to, and then like on the final couple of days, there's 3 days left, and I was like, oh.
I wanted it so bad, but it was not in my price range. I'd have to,
yeah,
because it was like
But that's kind of what I think I'm going to start going towards. If I see there's a book that they're going to be putting out an artist edition, I think I'm just going to hold out and get the artist edition of the books I like from now on. They're just so cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got the regular trade if you want to read it, just to read it, you know what I mean? And then the artist editions for you to pull down, and
they have a bunch of extra stuff in it too, like never before published pages that he did and stuff like that. So
they're probably the stuff that he had for the new book that never got put out, because like he was well into at least the first issue of the new body bags that he was working on before he passed. So there's probably some of that in there.
I think so. Yeah, because it was written. There's some unpublished stuff that's going in it. So
I mean, like, I guess it all depends on what his estate allowed Doug to use, or
hey, I mean, he was making this stuff for people to enjoy, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I was following him on Instagram before he passed, and like, yeah, he was pretty active, but like he was mostly just doing commissions and other people's art, but like he never lost it. He actually got better. You know what I mean? And that
the
damn thing. Like he didn't, and he's not like one of those guys like Thad Moore that supposedly got better by learning to draw like everybody else. Like, no, he improved his style, like Paul Pope type of got better,
Yeah. Yeah. So I highly recommend both these books with the warning label of especially body bags. I mean, if you're easily offended, then I mean, don't pick it up. If you're gonna pick it up just to fucking tear it apart because of the language, go pick something else up. Go, you know what I mean? Don't bother. There is language that was commonly used in the 90s that's in this. So I mean
it wasn't super accepted at the time, but like you really wouldn't have gotten into trouble for school at school for saying some of it. Like not really the racial stuff, but like the stuff that Panda says about Cisco. Yeah, like it was a worse time. I'm not gonna say like, oh, I wish it was like that still, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like I remember it, you know what I mean? And I think that it's like you said earlier, it's kind of like the racist Warner Brothers cartoons, you know what I mean? It's you got to remember that this shit happened, you know what I mean? And it was the way things were, and it's the way art was at the time. And trying to pretend it never happened, it's not gonna do anything but make sure that it happens again, pretty much.
Yeah, that's it. If you erase history, it's just gonna the newer generations won't be aware of it, and you risk repeating, right? So anyway,
but this is our first venture into truly disturbing territory, and not disturbing, I guess, controversial. Maybe we'll do disturbing books though. I mean, we did talk about
controversial. We have you have the master of controversial comics, Tim Vigil. We could do his books. I mean,
yeah, man, if I could ever find a digital copy of IO to send you, because I'm not buying another copy of that. Like ever since like he got trendy because of cartoonist kayfabe talked to him, like his shit's so expensive now, bro.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I have.
But that's the one. That's the one I'd probably want you to read the most. That's the one where the guy gets the tree trunk dick, and
yeah.
It's like Tim Vigil's body horror. So of course the guy just gets a huge penis.
Yeah. So we'll find some more controversial stuff that came out in the past and shed some light on it. I mean, it would be tragic for people not to read it just because of a little bit of outdated language. I'll call it outdated language because times evolve, people evolve with them. So I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, like even when you take it into even like things that are very celebrated, considered classical comics, man. Like when we read Sandman issue 25 when we were doing the Dead Boy Detectives, and I told you I forgot how edgy like those books were at the time because like everybody like quotes that as being such an influence and stuff, but nobody actually uses like the hard hitting stuff from it. And I'm not trying to give that guy any credit. Like I know what he supposedly did and whatever, and that he's probably a bad dude, but at the same time he is one of the most influential guys in comics, and his stuff is so accepted. But when you read some of it, it's almost as bad as Pearson's body bags. You know what I mean? So it just kind of is what
because
it is.
Like I mean, some people still do it, but they wrap it in the form of it's a demon and the demon's acting this way, so it's an evil a being of pure evil, and that's the way people get away with kind of putting it in. But I find it a bit of a cop out, So, like I said, if you're gonna do it, commit to it, do it right, and it'll have much more impact, right? As a piece of work, I mean, you don't have to do it just for the sake of doing it, just to piss people off. If that's what you're doing, then
Well, maybe a little bit. I mean, I'm pretty sure
like a little, but I mean, the whole purpose of your book is just to be edgy and take every little thing that society says is wrong, and then you're not really writing a story. You're just creating a piece of controversy, right, for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I mean, if it fits the story, then I mean, commit to it. Go for it.
Yeah. Like kind of like when we were talking to Patrick Kidlon, and he was like saying that like he agrees with us, man. He wishes there was like a shit stirrer in comics, like doing stuff to piss people off a little bit, kind of keeping.
Won't back down. Like if there's one panel, like one panel that's offensive out of a comic's about 22 to 28 pages roughly on average.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
and there's one panel in that book that some people may find a little offensive, and you're going to cancel the series or pull the book off the shelves? I mean, come on.
But yeah, I mean, like, and I've been saying that the whole episode, like, just a little bit of edge, man. Bring it back. I mean, I understand that like people really enjoy like the top writers right now, and like I appreciate their styles too. But like at the same time, like everybody's writing like them now. Everything's kind of edgeless. You know what I mean? And there's so much to read, but there's so little of it that actually stands apart
from the crowd. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a bunch of sheep. It's like having a field of sheep. Yeah, you don't have that black sheep in it anymore, so there's nothing standing out. It's like, there's no bad boy or bad girl of comics right now.
Yeah, I mean, not that I can think of. I mean, not at least and that are writing stuff that people want to read. I don't know. I haven't seen Benjamin Mara do anything in a while. He was like the only guy I knew that was kind of scraping the top of the underground and still being like really, really nihilistic and just messy with his artwork and everything. We still got to do that, and like maybe we'll do Benjamin Mara stuff in a later episode.
And we had what's his name as well, Charles Forsman.
Charles Forsman, yeah, we could talk about Revenger, since we could talk about Slasher again, like since we've kind of got
Slasher so good.
And
I love that book.
That book is disturbing.
That book is right up there with and then
Black
Emily
Hole?
was and then Emily was those two books there. Oh, I love those two. Those two are right up there for me when it comes to that kind of they're not the same. Like one's a very graphic, violent kind of serial killer / whatever murder book, and the other one's like a folklore horror, but yeah, they're both really good, and they both have such like Charles. His art just goes so well for that story, right? The story and his style just match up perfectly.
Yeah, it gives it that art house film.
Yeah,
it's like the book, the story kind of already has, but then the art just ties it all together.
Yeah, it's a home run. Yeah. And Revenger, like I picked those up. I read those last year.
Yeah,
almost a year now. I read those about a year ago. I picked up the 2 Revenger books. Fantastic. I got read through those really quick too. Good stuff. Yeah. And there's some stuff in there that might be like a little make people feel uncomfortable in those books too, but
oh, definitely that one shot that's at the end of the second book.
Yeah.
That one gets really, really disturbing.
Yeah. So we'll do more episodes of controversial books like this. We'll try to find some books and we'll read them if we can get them. If I could get my hands on them. Johnny probably has a lot of them, but yeah, for sure. So this was it, man.
That's the slight problem. And like we got it in the chat too. Availability is kind of the enemy of a comic book reader a lot of the time. And the out of print demons, they strike and they strike hard. They want their payment. And I always feel really bad when I do a recommendation for a book that's like unavailable. Like when we did Mesmo Delivery, but fuck, I wanted to talk about that book for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's still so unavailable.
There's no reason in this day and age of digital day and age that you can't find a book digitally. Like, I mean, you don't. I know it's cost prohibitive to print books sometimes because maybe the demand's not there. But man, you have the files. You sent them to the printer, so you have the digital files already. Like, just put them out digitally. Like, I mean, what do you have to lose? You're not making any money on the resale of your book. You know, the creators only make money off the original sale of their book. They're not making any money off all these fucking poachers on eBay selling the books for 8 times the price, the cover, right? The creators don't see any of that money.
Well, see, the thing is, well, I mean, like, I don't know about like how like Mad Cave or like companies like that do, but like Dark Horse or Image, after they print the book, like, it's yours again. It's done. You own it, and like you helped produce the book originally, but after that, it's yours. And like, I think that is why the creators might not be able to afford, you know what I mean? And then maybe Dark Horse has moved on, and they're
I understand for the printed. That's what I'm saying. For the printed, I understand it's prohibitive for the printing, but we live in a digital age. So, like I said, I mean, just like there's sites.
Put it up on Global Comics, though. You know how many?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Slasher. You know how I
Yeah.
read Slasher? I bought it off Comixology when Comixology was still a thing, and that's how I read it. I mean, and I love that book. Like, I'll highly recommend it to anyone. Like, go find it. I think you might be able to buy it through Kindle. I'm not sure. It might even be on Global Comics for all I know.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, like,
I think Floating Rock put that out, right? If I remember correctly, or one of them. Is it Floating Rock or Floating World? Man, it was one of them labels like that.
Because Comixology was great. They had a lot of the indie stuff. Like, they had all the Comics Tribes shit. It's so tragic that Comixology had to fold, but you know.
Yeah, but I mean, Global Comics is really picking up the slack, and they got a way better reader. And like, I found so many books that I absolutely love just because their creator had the guts to just put it up on Global Comics for free. And you know, and if I will find it and I will promote it, man. You ask Pure Dola, you know what I mean? You ask Wesley Griffith, you ask, you know what I mean? That's how I found all these great creators. And
it's not on Global, but I had it on Comixology. So it might be available through Kindle, because I think Kindle Comixology folded into Kindle, the Amazon. Like, and I know a lot of people don't like digital. They won't read digital, but I mean, come on. I mean, it's such a good book that
if it's the only way to read something, man, like, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've warmed up to them a lot, you know, because like, we get so many of them for free for you know, people coming on the show, you know, so we can read and have context to speak with them about. And it's kind of, I mean, I don't prefer them in any kind of way, but like, I really don't mind them anymore.
No,
unless they're the 2-page spread PDFs. I hate those. But if they're single-page PDFs, all day long I can read them.
Yeah, and I mean, I can understand if you're not reading on a tablet or something. Like, a tablet for like, you almost need a tablet for the digital reading experience for it to be good. It's definitely the tablet's the way to go. See, I don't see Slasher on Kindle, which is a pity.
Okay. I had no idea that they ever printed it in digital. You know what I mean?
It was on Comixology. Comixology had a lot of shit on theirs that when it folded, now it's not available anywhere digitally anymore. Like Sync, where you buy Sync digitally anymore, you can't.
You buy it off the Comics Tribe site.
They have digital copies available?
They do. I never buy them, but like
okay.
But when I'm on there to buy my the trade paperbacks when they come out and stuff, they always have the digital copies for sale. They're like $5.
But that's also not super convenient either.
Well, if you back whatever Comics Tribe has up now, you always have a chance to buy like all their digital stuff through Backer.
Yeah, I get that through Kickstarter. But what I meant is like just the, you know, going to Comixology, you do a search. Okay, they don't have that. You can do it like you don't have to like browse 8 different company pages. It's one site, you know, and well, you know, by browsing one thing, sometimes you land on another thing that you're like, oh shit, what's this? And you discover something new.
Well, I think that's how a lot of indie comic labels shoot themselves in the foot. I think that was probably part of the downfall from Scout and probably part of the downfall for like Source Point, because they don't
do the digital.
No, a lot of comic shops don't pick them up and run them. And then if you want to try to order their books offline, you have to go to their website. You have to pay their shipping. You know what I mean? You can't just go on, sloppy Amazon and get it. And like, I understand, like, oh, I should be happy to support them, but they want like $8 shipping every book. You know what I mean?
That's if you live in the US. If you live in Canada, it's like $25 for a $6-7 comic. You know, like you're paying $20, $25 for a single issue of shipping.
Yeah, and I could just go on Book Outlet and buy a bunch of old stuff, and like, and after $25, all my shipping's free. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, dude. Look, this came from case in point. This.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, like
Book Outlet.
Next to Global Comics, half my favorite shit I found recently has been from Book Outlet. So.
Oh, and I forgot to mark it. Usually, there's a little marker tab that they put on the edge to show it's a liquidation book.
Oh, mine doesn't have it either.
Oh no,
they forgot to do it then in the warehouse. Where's I have a few books from them. Do I see one? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I could show it on another time.
Yeah. That was our first jump into controversial comics, and we really hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back on Tuesday. We're gonna have Ryan Estrada on to talk to us about his books. He's got some really fun, young adult oriented books. We're going to be talking about Banned Book Club, No Rules Tonight, and Student Ambassador with him. He's a big time publisher guy, not from the big two though. He is published by actual book labels, man. This guy gets Penguin Putnam and like those type of distribution deals. So wow, it's going to be a different kind of a conversation with him, but I'm excited to have it. You know what I mean? Like, I love the art form of comics, and yeah, it's going to be a neat, fun change of pace, kind of like our episode tonight, us talking about the controversial stuff. So we'll see you guys then. Take it easy and keep it classy.
Yeah, we have it.